Hi, everybody. Welcome to our meditation group today. Super excited to be here with you guys. We're going to just get started in a minute here. And today we are going to be doing something a little different, but I hope very helpful and restorative and healing. So on our meditation today, and I'm just still kind of adjusting some of the technology here. On our meditation today, we're going to be inviting our angels or guides or some aspect of universal, non ordinary reality to help us with our energy healing. And first, I wanted to kind of just check in with you guys. I'm opening up the chat. How many of you have a sense of a guide or an angel or the difference between the two? So I have to say, in my experience, I'm not one of those people that has a lot of clarity about this is an angel, this is a guide. I have had experiences where I really very much feel that this is one of the well-known angels, like Archangel Michael. However, uh, I will just feel a presence. And I'm not really sure, honestly, is this my higher self? Is this a guide? Is this an angel? I just know it's healing support that is not coming from my person, my, Magali personality. Some people have really awareness of very distinct differences. And one of the things I have heard is that angels have never been humans. So angels are always coming from a divine source. And the people who I've heard share this seem to really know this, and I do trust them with that, but that's not something that's come to me as a knowing. So I like to be very honest about that. And I think, Mark, you're being Magali right now, maybe, but welcome everybody that Mark is typing in welcome, but I can't type and speak at the same time. And then guides are usually more thought of as having been at one point human and now working in non-ordinary reality to help human beings. Now, there's also animal guides, there's also elements, there's all kinds of resources and support. Then there's also many of us probably, and this would be more kind of the language I've used before now, connecting to just a universal divine presence that is healing. And that might be an aspect of our soul essence. It might be a connection with God, with um with presence. It may not have any words that come from any traditions. It may just be a quiet knowing or a stillness. So all of this, in my view, it's all totally valid and beautiful, and it's here to help us and serve us. We don't have to have specific beliefs or understandings, but I did want to just open with that in case some people had those questions. And of course, ancestors also can come. This morning, I was actually thinking about, and I guess I'm going to share it. I wasn't planning on sharing it, but Mark and I were in a car accident when we were about 21, I think, and it was a pretty bad car accident. The truck that hit us, a head-on collision, the the headlight of the truck ended up in Mark's lap. And, we were taken to the hospital right away. I was conscious the whole time. I saw all the windows crack. I saw the people come, the support. I never lost consciousness. We were in the hospital for only like a day or half a day. Not, I mean, we had some scratches from the glass, but no injuries at all. And the people in the hospital were very kind, very giving. Therapists came to talk to us that said often people who've had this kind of accident really need counseling, and all of this might have a mild concussion. anyways, we were good. We were really 21, things sort of come and go easily. The car was totaled. I loved that car, little Honda Civic that was my friend, and that was gone. So it was a little car. I didn't even have my full seatbelt on because we had just been getting in the car, and it was one of those automatic seatbelts that just goes across you, and then you had to put the bottom, if anyone remembers, the 1990s. So long story short, year or so after that, I went to a psychic medium, and this person didn't know me at all. But she said to me, you have two protectors. Their names are Al and Louie, and they want you to know that they saved your lives in the car accident. And now this person never met me, didn't know my name even, had no information about me. There was no Google searching, nothing. And my father, who had passed away a year before, his name was Alberto. She called him Al. And my grandfather's name was Luis, and she called him Louie. And I thought that was just, for me, that was like, I think we all have in our life like a little bit of evidence. And or maybe we don't, but we enjoy listening to other people's evidence. For me, that was a little beam of evidence that was helpful. And that was before I really meditated or anything. So I don't know. I guess there's a reason to share what we share. And so I hope that is helpful in some way. And I'm going to go ahead and just share my slide with you about energy healing, because I do think that it's important that we're not leaving out our capabilities just as people in normal, ordinary reality, that we can do things to help ourselves on an energy and more subtle level. This is something that it's good to know about, and it's one of the things that will assist us when we are connecting with non-ordinary realities. My slide, unfortunately, got a little messed up, but that's okay. I'll talk us through this a little bit. I just see there's certain letters are there that shouldn't be there, and there's things missing, but that's okay. So when we bring light or the awareness or the idea of light into our body, this can be very healing for us on an energy, on a subtle level. Now, light can be when we're tuning into different parts of us and we just imagine it. It can be felt, it can be seen, it can be heard as tones. We can also imagine that light surrounding us. We can also do that for others. We can imagine light surrounding them as a form of protection and love and universal blessings. Now, movement can help us if we're untangling or allowing some energy to leave us that doesn't belong in us. I often twist naturally as a release. Some people move their hands. Some people tap. Some people make sounds, like it could just be a or it could be singing, or it could be tones. So all of this is welcome during meditation today. Breath helps us with clearing and releasing and inviting new energy in when we breathe in. And there are different types of breath work that help us in different ways. I like trusting in that intuitive wisdom that we're all connected to guide our breath during the healing. Yawning is often a release of energy. It's a sign of relaxation in the body. That's a big one I do when I'm receiving healing from others. Laughing, crying, all energetic healing releases and helpful. I enjoy working with the rainbow channel is what is the word I have for it. And this is like a rainbow light that I feel sometimes as linear, and sometimes I feel as going between the hands, over the head, or around the body, or in any kind of pathway. But for me, it's a rainbow. The chakras or energy centers are places in our body that you can imagine as power sources, and also places where energy that might be for some reason kind of clinging to us emotionally or through thoughts, might get a little bit trapped or stuck. And so the chakras, when they're cleared, when they're flowing, when they're open, when they're lively, they connect all the pathways of subtle energy in the body, and they help us feel much more presence, much more connected, much more alive, much more creative, more loving, all these good things. We can feel sometimes temperature shifts or texture changes as we're healing energy. So that might be like getting goosebumps. It might be suddenly being very warm. Just as I talk about this, I am very, very heated up. We can feel sometimes energy like a dusty or a gravelly sensation, or a smoothness, or a line of energy. So I know I'm sharing a lot, but I think it's helpful. We can also feel energy blessings and healings as light that comes into our body. I've had these circles or dots of energy, not very big, sort of with my invitation, come in to the body and teach me things about the energy system, and I think give a healing. So, you know, it sounds so out there, and yet when you experience it, it's very easy. It's very safe. It's very comfortable. There can be circular pathways of energy. There can be figure eights of energy, like the infinity sign. I often feel that in the lower body. So we can notice these different shapes and movements of energy in our system, or we can imagine them. We can bring them in through our intention. We also might receive messages, metaphors, like the opening of a flower, the flowing of a waterfall. This might come through images or feelings or knowing within ourselves, or physical sensations in us. Stillness and presence are also a sensation of energy healing. Often when we're deeply meditating, we might have a lot of movement, and then it just falls away, and we're very solid, like a mountain. We're using a metaphor. We might feel deep stillness and presence, and in that might be a kind of reverence or gratitude or love, or there might be no emotion at all. There might be a releasing of emotion and thought. So all of this is good stuff that can happen and does happen. Sorry, my throat's a little dry today. One thing I want to do before we begin right now is all of us set an intention to be supported in some way by non-ordinary reality. So what I mean by that might be universal love, might be an angel, a guide, an animal helper, an ancestor, an element like the sun or the wind or water or earth. And just setting that intention clearly for yourself. May I be supported in learning and healing at the energetic level. So you can use your own words, or you can use my words. May I be supported. And if you would like to specifically meet a guide or an angel to help you, set that intention clearly. Today I will be, and my intention is today, as I lead this meditation, I will be connected and working with my guide or guides in leading this journey for us. And may we all support each other. May we all feel into the loving presence that's in all of us and connects all of us and connects us with the universe in our own unique ways, and also in a common, joined, loving way. Okay, so let's just begin by getting comfortable in our seat. Whatever that means to you, you might shift around a little bit, move your shoulders, wiggle your fingers or toes. And just take some nice, easy breaths. And as you breathe, notice what it's like to bring in this wonderful air into your body and to release the breath. You might want to make your exhale longer than your inhale, allowing it to help you relax. And just grounding your energy as you breathe. Imagine some kind of way. It might be unique for you. It could be a tube of light that goes down through your body, through the central channel into the earth. And the earth's light comes up to meet you, support you, comfort you, hold you. It might be through words. I am grounded. I am safe. And you might have your own particular messages. I am soft. I am nurtured. I am comforted. And just imagine now that your your energy system is expanded beyond the physical body. And the way you ground your energy can connect not just straight down, but also out, like the roots of a tree. The roots of a tree spread out the way the leaves and branches of a tree spread out. And if you want to move your hands to kind of show your body and your energy that movement, it might be a downward, outward movement, bringing in that direction from the hands of what the energy is doing. And just breathing and being, knowing that however you experience your own meditation today is just perfect for this moment. And let's connect to our heart and to our lower body. So putting one hand on the heart, one hand either on the leg or the stomach, and just saying hello to yourself. That inner greeting. How are you? Ask yourself some questions. Let your mind know that it's okay to be a mind. It's okay to have thoughts. They might come and go. Let your body know it's okay to have sensations. Let your feelings know it's okay to feel things. And you might want to invite a sense of knowing, of intuition. And we'll just begin by imagining light in our head area. And notice if you'd like to imagine light in your ears, in your forehead, in the crown of your head. Notice the kind of light. Does it have a color? Is it a rainbow? Do you feel it or know it or speak it to yourself or see it? All these ways are perfect. And is there an intention for your connection with the universe? Is there an intention for guides, angels, non-ordinary support to be here with you, next to you, helping you learn to release, heal, cleanse, balance energy in your system? And let this light now radiate in your chin and jaw, neck, throat, back of the head. And just with your imagination, bringing that quality of light. It might be one specific circle. It might be light that surrounds you. It might have a shape like a swirling or a flower. Your hand might help you by moving the light in a certain direction. And you don't have to see it or feel it. You can just set this intention for that light to be there as you breathe and connect. And then moving into your heart area, the front of your body, the back of your body, the shoulders. You might want to tap on your chest gently and just imagining that light filling you, giving to you, surrounding you. And just breathing and being, allowing that quality of love, presence. It might feel like a gentle opening in the heart, just the way the sun rises, the way we smile when we see something we appreciate, the way a flower opens. And then bringing your attention to your solar plexus, that space right under your ribs. You might want to put your hands there and just imagining light there in the center of your body. And inviting that light just to radiate at the perfect temperature, not too hot, not too cold, just energizing, balancing, really loving yourself and knowing that just this intention is perfect. If you feel it, if you see it, if you know it, if you sense it, that's great too. And when you're ready, just allowing if there's any movement happening or sounds or breathing patterns, please, please welcome. Welcome yourself into the experience. And moving down into the belly area, the lower back, imagining that light filling the lower body, letting that light go into the hips, the seat, the sits bones, the legs, and breathing and being, feeling that breath moving in the lower body, just imagining it all the way through the legs to the feet. And take a minute now to just be with the whole self, the whole body, the whole energy field. And let yourself, if you wish, welcome any support, angelic presence, guides that love and support you, animal helpers, ancestors, elements. And you might imagine one to one side or in front of you or behind you, or there may be a whole team. And you can just be with this in your own way, saying hello. And if you'd like, you can ask to be shown a metaphor or a quality of nature that is healing for you. This might be your creative mind, your unconscious giving you this quality of nature that is healing for you. It might be your guide or an angel or the universe giving this to you. So just notice what comes to you and let yourself feel that quality of nature that is healing, that is nurturing and giving. And now let's just open our hands in a way that feels right for us. It might be that your hands go to your legs or your lap, and you just have both hands open, or one hand might find a comfortable position over the other hand, sort of making like a little bowl shape. Whatever feels right. The hands might want to move and just invite the universe, your support team, invite yourself to allow the hands to receive light, love, blessings, energy. And this will be in your own way. And just noticing your hands, how they feel in this position of receiving, of opening. Noticing how you are grounded and comfortable and safe. And if you wish, you can ask to be shown now a pattern or rhythm, a sound or a texture, a way that energy moves in your system. And this movement is for your benefit. This quality, this texture, this message you receive about energy in yourself. This is a gift. The body might show it to you, your guide or angel or helper might show it to you. There can be a sense of hands supporting you, a warmth, a feeling, a movement. And if you wish, you can stay with this receiving and filling, or you have the option, if you wish, to invite the hands and your breathing and your imagination to receive movements or practices for healing, nurturing, cleansing the energy in yourself. So just notice what your body does. My hands are giving me a gentle movement of coming together as though they were holding something and just stretching it a little bit. And I'm feeling that in front of my heart. It might be different for you. It might be a figure eight. It might be a sound you make or a breathing pattern, a movement with the whole body. You can bring your breath into this practice. You might receive images or words. Work with what presents as natural for you. Today, for me, it's my hands and my body. And now my hands are moving to elongate my energy in the middle of my body. And so that's always, I offer that to you as a practice if that helps you. And if there's anything that feels congested in you, you can use your awareness, your hands, the support of your guide or angel to gently do a light cleaning, like a gentle, loving sweep of the different parts of your body or energy centers. Just gently, it's almost like a light movement massage. And I like to go over my head a little and my ears, the back of my head, and then just imagining my back body receiving that same gentle sweeping, loving massage through energy, all the way down the back body, all the way down the back of the legs to the feet. And if you wish, the front of your legs too. Just include this gentle sweeping all over you. And now, if there's anywhere in you that feels like it's asking for attention, it's just bringing your awareness to it. It could be a physical place, it could be an emotional place, something else that comes to you, imagine just adding extra light around it and breathing there for a moment, inviting your guides and angels to support your process, creating a sacred container around this healing practice that you're being given and that you are giving to yourself as well. And whether you wish to allow something to leave your system, it might be felt like a line of energy or light or a cord, like a string, or it might have another metaphor to it. You can gently release it using your hands, your breath, sounds you make, imagery, or feelings. And just knowing that your guide or angel or the universe will recycle that energy. They will take care of it. You send it with a blessing away from you. It might be a sense of an untangling or an like if you had a braid that you were unraveling, or a big ball of yarn that you were unwinding. There might be an unwinding, releasing, making space and room, and just letting the light fill in that space and room, allowing any part of you that's asking for this special, like the special spa treatment. It might have a color like the healing color of blue or violet or pink. It might have a word like love or care or kindness or freedom. And the hands might naturally make a movement to help. The body might twist, you might yawn or cry or laugh. You might make a sound like ah or om. And just notice the expansion you can feel for a moment. Let yourself move into an expanded position as you invite even more loving, healing light into your whole being. Letting any part of you that needs special attention be held in that loving light. And noticing how your angels and guides support you in holding that love, that light, that frequency of expansion. There might be blessings that come in through your crown or your heart. There might be sensing in your feet or hands. And just allowing whatever quality in nature you started with now come to support you. And there be maybe more qualities of nature here to support you. Whether it's a large tree that you feel or lean against or smell, or a beautiful lake or river or waterfall. It could be the rainbow channel of light felt between your hands or in your heart. It could be drops of grace like sunlight coming in around you, through you. It could be stillness and peace, the quiet of a beautiful boulder sitting in the sun. Or the rhythm of waves, or some other form of nature that nurtures you. And coming back to your heart space, if you have felt very extended, expanded, and wish, you can just gently bring your energy a little closer to your body now, feeling that comfortable safe feeling of your aura, of your energy all around the physical body. And ask your guides for any last blessings or information that you wish to receive that will help you and nurture you. Thank your guides, your angels, your ancestors, the nature that has supported you, the elements, your physical body, your emotional presence, your connection with the universe. Give thanks to all of this that is within you and also around you, around all of us. And see what it's like to take a kind of gesture of gratitude for yourself now, for your person, as you also make a gesture of appreciation, of thanks to your guides and angels and support. Now, bringing the hands together, if you wish, we're just going to gently open our eyes and staying in presence. Let's just let our hands, as they're joined, move slowly up in front of our body. As we breathe and connect, the palms are connecting. We're feeling the energy between the hands. And then we're going to slowly, slowly bring them down. It could be to the heart area, it could be lower. And as we do this, we ground and connect our whole system. And in your own way, we're going to just do a very gentle twist. So it might be that you just move your right hand to your left leg and look over your left shoulder. And then your left hand to your right leg and look over your your right shoulder. So just a really gentle movement. It could just be the head moving or just the hands. It could just be tapping the two legs, connecting the two sides of the body, giving yourself a hug. And opening up one last time, eyes open, hands open. You might want to look up, you might want to look around you, and just in this posture of receiving, of being and receiving. I'm so grateful for this time together, for the way we all supported each other's energy healing. And I'm so grateful for all of our guides and angels and universal presence here in each of us and around us. So just taking your time to come back to this reality, knowing that the non-ordinary reality is always also present, but we can be very functional. We can get things done. We can take care of ourselves and others. We can think and act and all of that while still knowing that this is always available every moment. Sometimes it can feel like we wear different hats. If we're mystically inclined, we might want to wear our mystical hat more often. If we are more worldly inclined, physically inclined, we might wear that hat more often, but we like to sometimes put on the mystical hat. And there's no one way to be with that, but I know my life has been a process of finding balance between that, between relationships in life, career in life, and this deep, deep calling to be in that field of the more mystical presence. So would love to know how that was for you. Any questions you have, sharing, please, please raise your hand, write in the chat. If you're on YouTube in the future, please share in the comments. And of course, if you are on YouTube, like it and subscribe and all that good stuff as well. And Lavana, hi.
Hi, Magali. Hi, everybody. Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, Magali. My best friend just killed in Israel. So the energy was so dark in my body. And it was so beautiful, this meditation. It was amazing. Like really healing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And let's all just hold love and presence for you, Lavana, and for your friend also. Yeah. And for all the people.
Yeah. It was so beautiful. He came and hugged me, and then he has to go to his daughters. It was it's unbelievable, this work, this meditation. It's unbelievable.
So happy that you had that connection with him.
Yeah. Magli, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing with us, Anyone else want to share or have a question? Everything is welcome here. You guys know that. And I guess I'm hearing a question that maybe is a part of me asking it. Maybe it's someone who has this question but doesn't want to speak out loud. What if nothing happens? What if we're doing this kind of thing and we're not getting any sense of a guide or a presence or a healing or a light? What if that happens too? And I just want everyone to know that just showing up for oneself and being with one's breath, having the intention to feel, to heal, to connect, that is absolutely enough. Sorry, we're having a little bit of sound on the line. I don't know if I went ahead and I saw one person unmuted. That's okay. So just knowing that it's enough to show up for oneself and have these intentions. Big experiences are not required. I can't tell you how many hours I've just sat with awareness of what was happening in the moment with no special mystical experience. And yet that leads to a deeper connection. Sergey, hi.
Hi, dear Magali, dearest Magali in the world.
How are you?
I'm great now that I'm with you. And everyone, I might be falling short on words, but I totally feel the energy of today, this meditation and space, and words once again fall short. And that's, I think it's best to share. It's like when words cannot express. And I loved, Magali, how you mentioned at the end that sometimes it could take a mystical approach. Sometimes it's more something else. And it's freeing. It's freeing. And I think putting words on the experience is freeing. Living the experience itself was very freeing. Thank you. Gratitude has been very freeing this weekend especially. So I'm very thankful and grateful for the safety of the space provided in timelessness. I remember every time you remind us of the infinity sign, it brings me back also to other signs like the French press, and then how symbolically we release. And that's the power of those practices to release. And then yet, you remember, throughout time, I've been sharing with you, and today more than ever, that the heaviness remains, and today could be more actual than any other day, because the heaviness is real as it could get, right? Like, I think everybody is sharing the heaviness of the heart of everyone, So I think the lightness that we could transfigure in that is given to us as a blessing, it's a universal blessing that we're sharing, to shed off the light, the weight, and find back the light, right? Such a beautiful paradox. Like, the light brings lightness, so that lightness shed in safe spaces and words in a timeless manner, which means the independent of timely manners, that safeness is one of the closest things to infinity, right? That we get to share as a universal blessing. So holding that safe space, it's not a given, it's a grace, right? So I think today more than ever, it's like we are here to be thankful and grateful for the safety of an open space that is shared through the power of connection, coming together as one, being those witnesses, like Levana, we see you. We see each other. What is happening, we are bearing it for one another. So we're also sharing the healing is true. The healing is true. Today, we have witnessed that sharing each other's burdens is also partaking in each other's rejoicing, right? We're sharing the beatitudes of transfiguration of our suffering, right? Where we are living immediately how grace can come and transfigure supernaturally by those witnesses of the heavenly realms, Thank you.
And the non-ordinary reality, bringing this back to that we can all have that intention and that connection. And that at a soul level, I think one of the ways I take in your words and Levana's experience too, that at a soul level, we're all connected. We're all one. We are all the energy of love. And then we have this worldly experience, which can be so, like you said, heavy, suffering, unfair, unjust, painful. And yet there's also this other dimension. And I think all of us here are really fortunate that we can have this wish to connect in this way. So thank you.
Thank you. I just want to thank you with one last word of beauty in my experience from today. Symbolically, what I was really trying to release as attention was guided to me supernaturally into forcing the smile on my face, which reminded me that smile was always so therapeutic as a transfigurative force. Like, in the moment, the heaviness of the body could be shed through genuine lightness of
and you're using that cord to bring the
that
energy
was in my
up.
meditation. That was happening in my meditation. I was like,
wow. I often feel that in the chest area, a smile there. Like, if we imagined a smile right there in the chest, and then it usually just spreads up.
Exactly. It was coming together.
There's a reason why, like, all the pictures of the Buddha, there's a little smile there. And then when one goes into deep, deep meditation, often a smile shows up. Beautiful reminder. Thank you. What a beautiful smile.
Smiling is often the best revenge, as we say, in the sense that my best revenge is to show that there's something untethered, right? The soul, remember? There's something so untouchable, uncorruptible. So thank
you and everybody. And let's see what other shares. Joan, hello. I was wondering what angels and guides came today, Joan.
I had an experience that I felt I should be sharing, but I was hesitant because I love to listen to other shares. And when you said about we're surrounded by the energy of love, I thought, oops, I guess I'm supposed to share. So I put my hand up. I had incredible light. I'm in my usual window. It's a very cloudy day here, and yet through the meditation, the sun kept coming out, in and out, and just bathing me in this incredibly beautiful sunlight, and would get really bright at times, and was just really, really special. It would change colors and that. But the thing I want to share is that all of a sudden, at one point, when the sunlight was coming in, surrounding me, it all of a sudden took the form of a gigantic heart.
Wow.
And I had this light, this bright sunlight in the shape of a heart, a huge heart. So indeed, we are surrounded by love, and that energy is love. And I just wanted to share that with everyone so that you would affirming, actually, Magali, what you have just said.
Thank you so
you.
much. Thank you for sharing that. And, you know, also, if any of you felt your own physical body asking for healing, sometimes it's our physical being that needs support and healing. And that's wonderful. It's wonderful when we get that message. I can remember once being very ill with a virus or flu during a retreat, and thinking I was so ill I was going to really have to leave the retreat center because it was high in the mountains and I couldn't breathe. And I sat in the meditation, and little devas, like little tiny angels, or I don't know what to call them, but they went in and sort of, it sounds so weird, but kind of like ate all the congestion in my lungs and in the body. I know this sounds pretty out there to some, but it was an experience. And after that, I got better. And I mean, I did take cough and cold medicine or whatever, but I was able to stay for the retreat and continue to practice. And I've obviously never forgotten that. That was over 7 years ago. And I never forgot that in that moment of need, it was these little tiny helpers, angels or guides of some kind that went in there and did that work. And sometimes we can imagine it the way I did, but sometimes we can feel it, like a light moving in us or hands coming to support us. And I'm someone with a lot of physical expressions of discomfort in the body. I get illnesses and I get injuries. And this summer I had 2 sprained ankles. I have a lot of things come up through my body. That's the way I process. And now knowing that I can ask, just like I can go to the physical therapist, which I do, and I can see naturopaths and doctors and all that good stuff, I can also ask my guides for assistance, is very, like, at a soul level supportive. And it's the same for our grief, the same for our emotions. We can do all the real life ways to care for ourselves, and also this non-ordinary reality way to care for ourselves. So I think that's one of my reasons for this kind of work, is to open that up for everyone to be able to give to themselves. And I know my good friend Tanya knows all about this. Tanya, how are you?
Hi. Yeah, thank you so much for that meditation. I just want to share some of the things that came up for me. So my theme of the house came up, and I brought all these guides, and it was so interesting because it was like the spirit of the house came as well.
Wow.
Yeah, and the image that I got was a waterfall, and it was kind of that, the violet light that comes and just cleans, and just like it just came so naturally. So it was like just feeling all these guides, my parents, my everybody, but this also spirit of the house, and then kind of cleaning things, and just feeling like the waterfall coming all the way through, like through my cells, through, not just on top kind of thing. And then when you were talking about the balance, I was already in that kind of figure 8. So it's just like the big message for me that was coming out was, finding this balance. And it was actually that healing, what you just said about the healing the body. Yes. And how this energy comes in, and how these guides support us in healing all these feelings we have in our body as well. And I went to a place where I was like, and then I went to another place, we'll say, okay, now maybe this. And then because of that feeling in the body, it was not equanimity, but it was like, okay, balance and don't give in to what other people want necessarily.
Yeah.
But, take it into consideration
Yeah.
and find that balance. So I found it really, really
Oh.
helpful because
I
have-
love that. Okay, I have to ask what's house was the spirit, the house of the spirit, because I know some of your different locations.
oh, okay, this is
What-
the Vancouver one.
The
one my-
Vancouver one. Okay, that's what I thought, but I was very
Yeah,
curious.
yeah, because now I'm back in Cairo. So it's like-
Yeah, I know you're in Cairo, so I was trying to figure that out. Okay.
Yeah,
thank you.
and
I had
then-
my curiosity there.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that, like, I brought the energy from the house in Vancouver. I was able to bring it here. And, I brought it into my heart, and I was able to kind of share it with this space and do this whole connection, like with this apartment, with Cairo, with Egypt, with the world.
Yeah, yeah.
I could do that bridging that we
That's
talked about. So
wonderful.
but anyway, so I was
Oh,
everybody
thank you for
absolutely
sharing.
ask your guides and just open to
Yeah.
what they share. So
Oh, thank you for sharing, Tanya. So good to see you.
Yeah.
Okay, and Suzanne, hi.
Hi there. So I wasn't going to say anything, but you both reminded me of something, and I'm really grateful for is I've been really sick the last 9 days, like bad.
Sorry.
And then it went to physical pain because of inflammation and just sleeping for 3 days. I had a very bad virus. But you remind me to be grateful today. So I'm grateful for that. Thank you for that, because you reminded me that if I don't feel the feelings that I feel, I can't have the compassion that I have for others. And I talked to a friend this morning who has, she's in chronic stages of cancer in the bones, and she's in chronic pain. And it remind me that when I have pain, I can have that empathy and that compassion and that love, and a reminder that this is all about love. So if I can't remember my pain, and so I've just been really sick. And I'm glad to be up and at 'em today. And I liked your little sweeping analogy. I was kind of like sweeping out, and then I saw bright violet. And then I also, when you were talking about the little, I think of Pac-Man, the little things eating away the viruses. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you for sharing. And I thought of you when I was talking about the different hats we wear, because your background, one day you'll have to share with us the story of all the hats.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you. And we all send you lots of physical
thank you,
healing.
indeed. I'm asking for it
yeah.
today. I'm asking for your thoughts, prayers, holding me, and I'm
Absolutely.
holding everybody else too.
Mm,
Thank you.
thank you. And Nicole, hi.
So today I wasn't sure if I could be present in my body because I'm rectally bleeding. I have ulcers in my rectum, and I have a huge amount I have a heating pad on my tummy. And I was like, no, let me just be still. But of course, when you're in physical pain like that, you're trying to avoid feeling being in your body.
Right.
And
right.
so just being able to say, I'm willing to feel, and to get into a space of loving your body and having compassion for it and nurturing for it and saying, yes, I feel you, and yes, I'm in pain, but I'm going to love you anyway.
Mm.
And I'm going to be with you, and I'm here for you. And just to be able to be willing to be present with it as it is and not fighting against it,
That is so amazing how you just said all that. And I feel goosebumps when you speak about it. And I feel so much of your presence and sharing this at this time with us. I felt like you just gave us a direct teaching there. So Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah,
Thank you. It
you.
it did help me move to a place of presence and be able to bring the light in and
Yeah.
know that ultimately we are more than just our bodies.
Yeah, thank you. And both you and Suzanne, the way you've shared just has really, it's really touched me, and I'm sure everyone here. So thank
Thank you.
you. What important reminders, and the way everyone has shared today. Wow. And Rita, hi.
So many heartfelt messages. I feel it's a little trite, but I
All
usually
welcome.
so I don't feel what I want to feel, and I don't know, really what that is, but I want to receive, I guess, more and more messages. But I did feel a sense of great calmness that I haven't felt. But I'm just wondering, when you mentioned earlier about you sat for, you know, for a time before the messages came, and I'm just wondering if there were any more um tricks or that you can tell us to help to feel more
Yeah.
more quickly.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you.
absolutely. And I'm happy to share I do have one little thing that works for me, and it's listening to other people. So
Mhm.
I find that it's not just my own practice, but I'm someone that listens to a lot of interviews with people who meditate or do spiritual practice, or who are mediums or channels, or they work with people who are dying, or all these sort of like deeper experiences of life. I like to listen to others. I like to hear their experiences. I like to feel their vibration and their truth. And that's why in this group I feel so fortunate for everyone's sharing, everyone's energy. And it's, for me, it's that then enriches my own practices. And there's lots of other things, of course, but I think that's something that doesn't get talked about very much, how we can just resonate with other human beings who have these deep experiences, and that just invites it more into our being. So even just listening to, like, if you saw my Audible account, the amount of books I have that I listen to about lucid dreaming. And I listen to those books about lucid dreaming because I know if I listen to someone sharing about lucid dreaming, I am more likely to lucid dream. And so it's the same thing with sharing and listening to others and their connection with healing, their connection with God, their connection with the mystery of life. It really affects us all. So thank you, Rita, for bringing that question, and so fortunate, I think, for us, the world we live in that many things are unfortunate, but one fortunate thing is how connected we can be, and the amount of variety of different human experience. If we are open to it and we want to be in that connection, we can receive it. And then that will lead to our own inner connection for some. Now, I'm an introvert. Everyone's always surprised to hear that. So some people might get that with real people in their life and friends. And I love my friends, and I love real people in my life too, obviously. But I also really love the ease now of interviews on YouTube and audiobooks and all of that. So I'm not saying that that's in any way better than the real experience, but if anyone's like me and just a little more introverted, then books and videos can be a little bit easier. And then having, some time in the week for this kind of connection. I also think just that daily coming back home to yourself and to your own intention for connection with the universe, just even 3 to 5 minutes. It doesn't have to be a long practice, but just knowing every day I come back to that. It's like In dream practice, we write down our dreams every day, even the non-spiritual dreams, the non-lucid dreams, even if it's just a flash of a chimney or being in a museum, whatever little thing we can remember from the dream. The reason we write it down is that it gives a message to our unconscious that dreams matter. And if we know they matter, we're more likely to wake up in our dreams and have healing and spiritual experiences in our dreams. And it's the same thing with meditation or spiritual practice. If we're giving that message to both the universe and to our own unconscious, my spiritual practice matters, I do it for 5 minutes a day, we're much more likely then to receive and deepen in our spiritual life, because we're showing up and saying it matters. So yeah, and I'm going to do a lucid dream meditation soon again, because that is one of my favorites. And so I find so profoundly connecting to the spirit realms, to souls that are passing over, and that we can all do that. We can all support that process also. All right, guys, I hope everyone feels a little more peace and connection, and just remembering to fill yourself with light, surround yourself, and take care of yourself. And I will see you next week, Monday, 10 a.m. California time every week. If I can't be here live for some reason, once in a while, like last week, I was in the mountains with bad internet, then we live streamed, and I hope some of you were able to come to 21 Journeys. I got to be in the desert and the mountains with my daughter for a few days, so that was lovely. Okay, talk soon. Bye-bye.